They Do Not Understand Each Other is an exhibition curated by Yuka Uematsu and Jun Yap from the National Museum of Art Osaka and the Singapore Art Museum, respectively. It presents artworks from both museums' collections that speak to the subject of cultural exchange. Specifically, to consider cultural representation, its assumptions and expectations. Simply put, the questions we wish to contemplate through this exhibition are: how do we understand each other? And how does art play a part in this moment of encounter and exchange? We generally think of the ways we identify ourselves as derived from our cultural origins, our customary practices, beliefs, and received knowledge, as well as the conditions in which we live and thrive in our own societies. And we learn of each other's cultures in a process of exchange, which begins with an encounter that can come in a number of forms: physical, in being in the presence of another, or abstracted, in representation, including in art. If we take the premise of culture as representation, as it is often assumed of art, the promise or expectation of such an encounter of representation is, one would like to imagine, the possibility of understanding. An understanding of the other and, ideally, a broadening of one's perspective of the world. But this is not always the case. The encounter of the unfamiliar or uncommon might be fraught with fear, threat, uncertainty, suspicion, and a sense of inequity. Here, the opportunity arises for such feelings and responses to be mediated or modulated by art, with its contribution of an expanded awareness. In the artwork that this exhibition is named after, an artwork by the artist Tsubasa Kato, originally titled in Japanese to describe, quote, a situation where what is said is not understood, end quote, we observe two individuals trying to cooperate on a simple task of installing a sign on an island. Unfortunately, they do not speak each other's native languages, and the process is confusing and somewhat humorous. They do, however, succeed after a time, and the sign installed then brings us to where they are, a very real small island that is set between Korea and Japan. Neighbors, and contrary to the linguistic gap, really not so far apart. The exhibition, They Do Not Understand Each Other, presents artworks by 19 artists that speak to the possibilities and impossibilities of these connections, be it connections between us, between peoples, ideas, and even things. How do we understand a gesture, a gaze, a movement, share a feeling, absorb another, connect with ourselves, and with the world and universe around us? How do we understand each other? This sense of understanding extends beyond communication in word, form, and expression, to that of being and being in the world, a world where the existence of one continues into the existence of another, where our experiences are inherently connected, and where we are, in the end, part of each other's creation.